Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday, December 1st, 2016. I'm Kayla Coughlin.
And I'm Raleigh Kathwari. Welcome to the Local Live. A Rye Neck teacher is arrested in a child pornography case.
The Mamaroneck Public Library is asking all residents of the village to come out and vote. For what? Those details up next.
A water storage and distribution system upgrade is coming to Larchmont.
Elisa Miller and David Finch say their final comments as they finish their term as Village of Mamaroneck trustees. The Larchmont Mamaroneck Lions Club announces their Celebrating Peace Art Contest winner.
The Hour of Code is coming to our community. This and more local stories in our segment In the Media.
We have all the information you'll need for this weekend's Mamaroneck Arts and Crafts Fair.
This Thursday is World AIDS Awareness Day. On our live roundtable segment, we will learn about new data and new preventative AIDS drugs, so stay tuned.
Rye Neck science teacher Nicholas Pagliuca has been arrested on child pornography charges after investigators tracked his email address registered with a child pornography website. He is charged with one count of possession of child pornography, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison, and one count of receipt of child pornography, which carries a mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years in prison and a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. He was released on a $50,000 bond with conditions to not teach or be around children unsupervised.
The Rye Neck School District released a statement saying, quote, "This was the first indication which we had of any possible activity of this nature, and at this time we had no reason to believe that any student has been exposed to misconduct or that any school district facilities have been misused or misappropriated."
And in a separate email sent out to parents, Rye Neck Superintendent Dr. Peter Mustek said that counselors would be made available to any student or staff member who needed assistance in coping with the news, and that the district is fully cooperating in the investigation.
The Mamaroneck Library is holding a special election on site next Wednesday, December 7th from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and is open to all residents of the Village of Mamaroneck. Residents will be voting for the library's budget and also for 4 trustee positions. All trustee positions are volunteer-based, the terms are for 3 years, and they are responsible for hiring the library director, preparing the budget, and advocating for the library. The 5 candidates running for the trustee positions are Martha Sokol McCarty, incumbent vice president and resident of Rye Neck since 1982, Clayton Otto, incumbent trustee and resident of the village for over 7 years, Robert S. Albert, a lifelong resident of Mamaroneck and has spent over 25 years in the publishing industry, Katie Langen, a resident for over 20 years, a former ballet dancer and professor, chair and artistic director of the Marymount Manhattan College Dance Department, and Joanne Shaw, also a resident for over 30 years, who's had a long career in healthcare administration.
The Local Live spoke to Susan Riley, director of the Mamaroneck Public Library, who encourages the community to come out and vote on December 7th. A full copy of the candidate biographies and budget is available at the circulation desk inside the library.
About $230,000 will be spent on the reconstruction of the water storage and distribution system for the Village of Larchmont, aiming to provide a more sustainable and efficient water service for residents. The main water resource for the Village of Larchmont is distributed by the Westchester Joint Water Work and stored by Bryan Pump Station and tanks.
From the 1950s to the 1980s, there have been system updates on the pumping capacity, electrical efficiency, heating installation controls, and record. But there hasn't been any major renewal for the infrastructure, both on the tanks and the pumps. Project manager from Woodard and Curran, Steve Robbins, was invited by the administrator to address on the issue at the Board of Trustees meeting last week.
Byron Place Pump Station and tanks is the only water storage within the village and the only booster pumping equipment within the village. The station was originally constructed in 1925. The station, stands essentially as it was in the 1980s. As a result, the village has undertaken this project to rehabilitate that critical infrastructure to the village.
The original 250,000-gallon steel water tanks will be replaced by a single 650,000-gallon concrete storage tank. There are currently several diesel-fueled temporary pumps in place to meet the water demand of the village. The pumping system and storage tank after the reconstruction are going to exceed the current capacities. Before this resolution was passed last Monday by the Board of Trustees, Village Mayor Lorraine Walsh restated the urgency of the reconstruction.
We haven't made any substantial changes to that system down there in about 50, 60 years. It's long overdue. We have to forge ahead with the last piece of the project and just get that done, and then we know that our water delivery system is going to be good to go for a good long time afterwards.
After the inspection from the health department, the reconstruction will start early next year.
Democratic trustees Lisa Miller and David Finch have officially finished their term serving the Village of Mamaroneck Board of Trustees. They gave their final remarks minutes before the November 28th session was adjourned. David Finch addressed the lack of civility during the Board of Trustees sessions, and he stressed that comments from the public should be informative, concise, and not repetitive. He also added the responsibility for the lack of civility falls on Mayor Norman Rosenblum.
That we will really never have well-run meetings that don't run the risk of attacks, of incivility, quite frankly, and I hate this to be my last comment, but I really think it has to be said. Until Norman's no longer our mayor, I've run a lot of meetings. I've attended a lot of meetings. I know how meetings should be run, and he continually does things that I believe are not best practices. Some examples, if you will review the tape, were tonight. They're just improper way for a presiding officer to officiate at a meeting, and he's not going to change. And so maybe starting a year from now, the village will benefit from that. He's a great person. He's well-intended. I could go on about the good things, but I wanted to talk about specifically what makes these meetings very difficult. But otherwise, it has been an adventure, and I have valued that adventure, and I continue to wish this village all of the best and continue to receive the support of all the volunteers and all the residents that make it work. Thank you.
Voting for the referendum, for being humane to geese, for new pet store regulations, and also supporting the Industrial Area Committee and the Marine Education Center were some of the positive causes Trustee Eliza Miller feels very proud to be a part of. During her final remarks, she also reflected on the negative and on what she has learned as a trustee.
I'm also disappointed that this board was as contentious at times as it was, that it was as personal as it was, because it should never be. But I know that I leave not only the honor of serving this community, but a better person. I've learned a lot about myself, about others. I also learned about what it takes to make up a good board. And for those coming on next, I have some recommendations myself. I promise not to say what Dave did, but my recommendation is to really take a look at who you are as individuals, who your strengths are as individuals, what knowledge sets that you bring, and trust each other to balance one another out and respect each other. No one is perfect, and no one can know everything. I know for a fact that there are strengths amongst this board that if we were possibly honed, as a board to focus on those, I think we would have worked a lot better as a team here, regardless of where we stood on issues. And so with that said, I want the future of this village to continue to grow. I want to be part of it, and I thank you for allowing me to do so.
Congratulations are in order for Rye Neck Middle School 7th grader Mark Seamer, who won the Larchmont Mamaroneck Lions Club Peace Poster Contest on November 18th. Each year, millions of children from nearly 100 countries have participated in this International Lions Club contest, expressing their visions of peace.
From the Rye Neck School, we have our winner, Mark Seamer. Come on up, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Mark.
Okay, you can go give him the mic. I'll hold it for you,
Take
Marcus.
the mic if you'd like to tell us about your poster?
Well, some of the flags are in different colors because basically the nations are uniting around the world. Well, I thought rainbows represented peace, so I put a rainbow over the world and basically a giant ribbon around the earth showing like all of the nations. Well, some of them are combined together.
Very good.
Very good. The Rye Neck 7th grader competed against students from St. John's and Paul and the French American School. Seymour's poster will now be submitted to the district level competition for further judging.
Here's Jack Wells with what's trending in the media.
If you got some good deals on Cyber Monday or participated in any online shopping over the past weekend, listen up. The Riot Patch has some tips to prevent any package theft during the holiday season. Experts say to have your package delivered to a location where it can be received by a trusted person, and always track your package to make sure it's been delivered. Great news at the Mamaroneck and Rye Neck school districts, as they now rank among some of the best schools in New York State. Niche, the education website, ranked 100 schools statewide. Mamaroneck came in at number 36, and Rye Neck ranked at 40. To check out the complete list of all the high schools that were ranked in our area, you can visit the Mamaroneck Daily Voice. Also from the Daily Voice, this holiday season, state troopers will be conducting counterterrorism security checks in our county. You may notice more troopers on patrol as a part of their strategy to be vigilant and highly visible. Also, the state police are reminding you, if something is suspicious, to call their tip line at 1-866-SAFE-MYS. A new Barnes & Noble's concept store is opened in the Vernon Hills Mall on White Plains Road. The 22,000 square foot store is accompanied with a 2,600 square foot Barnes & Noble kitchen, which is an all-day menu of flavorful dishes and a variety of premium wine and local craft beers. As a whole, the store is looking to create an engaging experience for the community. Find out more from the Mamaroneck Daily Voice. From December 5th to the 11th, the Larchmont Mamaroneck STEM Alliance will be hosting many events throughout the week as a part of a worldwide event called Hour of Code. This is a program that seeks to have every child in the district, and as many people worldwide as possible, to spend at least 1 hour of experimenting with learning how to code. On Monday, December 5th, Microsoft Store experts will be hosting an Hour of Code at Hakim Middle School for all ages, and it's completely free. Be sure to register at lmstemalliance.org. There are also events in Spanish at the Community Resource Center, and events for adults like the Happy Hour of Code, which will be taking place at Tequila Sunrise from 7 to 9 on Thursday. To check out the events, be sure to check out their website. If you find it online, you can find it right here in the media. I'm Jack Wells.
Now it's time for some local trivia, and then on tonight's roundtable, we'll be taking your calls, emails, and tweets as we talk World AIDS Day and the preventative measures available now. Stay tuned.
Good evening and welcome to our roundtable. December 1st is World AIDS Day, and tonight, finally, some good news about HIV and AIDS. I'm Mike Witch.
And I'm Maura Carlin. And as always, we invite you to join our conversation with a question or a comment. You can call, email, or tweet. The contact information is on your screen.
The good news is about a medication called PrEP that helps prevent infection by the HIV virus. And it's about a push to make the drug available throughout New York State with the goal of stopping HIV infections by 2020. Our guests are Linda Hakim, a program specialist in the Westchester County Department of Health, and Johanna Acosta, a PrEP specialist in the Westchester Medical Center Health Network. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Yes, you did.
Can you tell us what the difference is between HIV and AIDS?
Sure. Well, HIV is the initial stage of the disease. It's actually the virus, and AIDS is the last stage of the virus. So it first starts with HIV, and then HIV actually attacks your CD4 cell, and when your CD4 cell drops below a certain number, it turns into AIDS.
This is the cell that defends the body against other infections?
Correct. It's your immune system cells. It's called CD4 cells or T cells.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm old enough to remember that there was thousands of people who died in the 80s and 90s from AIDS. Does HIV always lead to AIDS?
No, not often. So HIV, like Johanna said, is a virus which compromises your immune system. And today, HIV, you will see people test positive for HIV and not necessarily AIDS. Because of medications, people are living longer and feeling better, and the medications boost the immune system, so people have the ability to remain healthy.
I remember in the mid-90s there was a group of drugs, I think was called a cocktail. Was that a precursor to this PrEP drug?
So early on in the epidemic, they had two drugs, AZT and DD4, which were rough on the system. And at about 1994, scientists in the medical professionals come up with highly active antiretroviral therapy. Now it's ART, antiretroviral therapy. So as things progress, letters drop off, and these drugs from 94 to 2000 are why we are here today.
Yeah. So now you don't have to take the cocktail of medicine. Now there's actually one pill regimen for individuals that are well controlled. Their virus is well controlled and well managed, so they don't have to take the 5 or 6 pills. They have one pill regimen, which is really good in advance.
There's still some misinformation out there about HIV and AIDS. We found a public service announcement from the Health and Human Service Network of New York State, from the LGBT network.
Right.
And we'd like to take a look at that now, show that to our viewers, and then we'll come back and talk more.
Sure, let's do that.
If the world was flat, then where would all the water go?
Myth. If you drop food on the floor and eat it within 5 seconds, it is okay.
My cats eat food off the floor all the time, but it doesn't mean that it's okay for people to.
Myth. If you step on a crack, you'll break your mother's back.
My mom is a strong, independent lady, but I still avoid cracks just in case.
Myth. Most people can't afford PrEP, a pill that can lower the risk of getting HIV by over 90%.
PrEP does lower the risk of getting HIV by over 90%, and people can afford it.
Bust the myths, get the facts. Text PrEP to 69866 and receive personalized advice on getting PrEP.
And we'll actually have a local number that you can call to get information about PrEP as we continue our conversation with Linda Hakim and Johanna Acosta. Those myths, the public service announcement took a humorous approach, but it is a serious topic. So the PrEP is a new medication? And
no, it's a new program, but the medication has been around for years. It's actually one of the medication that are available for HIV-positive individuals to take as part of the regimen. So it's one of the cocktail of medicine that they were taking before to fight HIV. So it has been proven that when you take it before you are exposed to the virus, it actually prevents you from getting the virus.
So who should take it? Who do you advise to take it?
So anyone that has unprotected sex, the risk populations are African American, men and women, men who have sex with men, transactional sex workers, someone that has an HIV positive partner that is HIV negative should take it, and
drug users.
Drug users.
Yes, injection drug users.
Is there a socioeconomic, level that people who are affected? It can be anyone.
Anyone.
Those are the risk groups.
Anyone.
Correct. So anyone who's basically practicing any risky behavior, anyone who think that he or she might be exposed to HIV for whatever reason, is a perfect candidate for PrEP.
And how do you get PrEP? Is it a pill, by the way?
Yes.
PrEP is a pill that you take once a day, and again, like Johanna said, if you take it as prescribed, it's 95 to 99% effective to prevent HIV. You can go to your local doctor. Westchester County Department of Health has the PrEP STD Services Grant. Westchester Medical Center has a PrEP program as well.
Yeah.
There are other local hospitals. St. John's Riverside has one. Open Door Family Medical Center and Hudson River Healthcare are local providers which have a PrEP program. And the medication, if you have insurance, that's good, and as well as there's a grant program. Gilead will pay for the medication and assist in that.
How do you ask your doctor for it? I imagine there might be people who would find that difficult.
Well, it's I think that when you go to your PCP or your doctor and you're sharing your sexual history, and you feel comfortable enough sharing your sexual history with your doctor, and just ask for PrEP. It's being advertised more now than before, even though it was released in 2012 or approved in 2012. Now we see more advertisement. Now we see more people knowing about what PrEP is. So just asking your providers flat out, how can I get PrEP?
And should my doctor, I should expect him or her to know what PrEP is?
You should expect, but not everyone knows what PrEP is. Most providers don't feel comfortable prescribing it, so they will refer to a program like Linda's or myself, that we have more knowledge as to what it is, and how to get it, what programs are out there that they will qualify for, psychosocially, how to get help for the patient. So
is there any concern that by going through insurance, you'll be tagged as a risk by insurance companies in the future?
I've seen clients that, well, not necessarily adults because they have control over who the payee is. However, if there's youth that are on their parents' insurance, we've seen cases where in the clinic that they're concerned that this is going to show up on their parents' bill, the prescription and or the examination. But Westchester County Department of Health offers these services free, so the medication, you may have to get a prescription, but that can even be negotiated because Gilead has the program, the grant program for people that cannot or may need assistance in that area.
And also DOH. DOH has a program.
What is DOH?
Department of Health.
Okay.
So the Department of Health has a program that even for those that don't want to go through their insurance for whatever reason, if you qualify, which most people do qualify, the program covers your PrEP services and the lab. And then we just have to enroll you in the Gilead Medication Assistance Program for the medication.
And that's New York State Department of Health.
Yeah,
PrEP
New York
Act.
State. Yes, which is good.
And we should get those phone numbers out there now. If people need information or they want to refer their doctor for information, who do they call?
They call the Westchester County Department of Health at 914-995-5800, and we can give them whatever information they need and refer them to the state of New York and or other programs. My program, we work hand in hand with Westchester Medical, so if I have a patient or someone that needs services, we will refer out from the health department.
So for the person who just grabbed the pencil and didn't get a chance to write it down, can you say that number one more time?
914-995-5800.
Okay. And there's a website that has this information on it as well?
That would be westchestergov.com.
Westchestergov.com.
Yes.
/health?
No,
Forward
yes,
slash
back,
health.
yeah, backslash health, yes.
/ health, okay. You also are running a program on December the 5th.
Yes.
It's called Ending AIDS, Ending Disparities.
Yes.
And what do you mean by disparities?
So one of the goals of the PrEP program and the epidemic of 2020 is to help end healthcare disparities. So PrEP for me and the health department is a program that can link people to medical care, and by linking people to medical care, you can decrease healthcare disparities. We have a lot of people that still are not accessing health care, even with the Affordable Care Act and things of that nature. So this is one of those ways that you can bring those marginalized populations and the populations that we spoke about earlier into health care. And so this conference is to talk about that, to talk about PrEP and how we move forward in addressing ending HIV and/or health disparities.
And there aren't too many slots open, are there, on that? I think you told me they're just about.
I have about 20 left, so anyone can call me tomorrow. And that number is 914-995-8487, and that's my number, Linda Hakim.
And tomorrow's the last day.
Yes.
Thank you for adding that.
I actually have a parenting question. Should parents suggest to their kids' doctors that the kids be put on this?
PrEP is not approved for...
because parents often are the last to know.
PrEP is only approved for 18 and older. It's not approved for anyone younger than 18 as of now. Unfortunately, hopefully in the future it will be. But every study that has been done for PrEP is actually for adults. So 18 and older only. So parents that have teens that are at risk, I recommend for them to find someone who is educated enough to talk to them about behavior change and safe sex and condom usage and things of that nature. But as of now, PrEP is not approved for them.
Are the cases of AIDS and HIV going down?
Yes,
continuing to go down?
They are. They are. I think it's all part of the end the epidemic movement that is going on right now. So we are seeing a lot more prevention, a lot more education, a lot more just altogether outreach to those individuals, that population, and it's actually bringing the cases down, it's bringing the diagnosis down.
And certainly from what you said before, a lot of the emphasis has been on living with AIDS.
Yes.
Or living with HIV.
Or HIV.
HIV,
Yeah.
correct.
I think I read a statistic that there are now some 37 million people worldwide that are living with HIV.
I believe so, more or less. I believe that's correct.
Although in years before, AIDS killed almost as many people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because
it still is an epidemic in certain parts of the world, isn't it?
Yeah. Not necessarily here. I think here is well managed. I think that HIV is actually one of the most well managed diseases right now. We see our population dying of something else other than HIV/AIDS. They're dying of diabetes or cancer, or their cholesterol is not managed, but the HIV here today is actually well managed among our patients.
I was just thinking, our generation, we remember what that AIDS epidemic was like and the horrible pictures that you'd see in the newspaper and on news. Today's young people, the millennials, they don't know that.
No.
So what prompts them to talk to their parents or just talk to their doctor about getting that cocktail if they feel that they're at risk for it?
There's social media. The beautiful thing about social media, Twitter and Facebook, all of those are places where people can get and give and receive information, and a lot of information goes out on those social networks. So I believe that the kids learn by what they see and what they hear, and it's a constant barrage. I know for me, for Facebook, I put up every event that was going on today on my Facebook page and let people know that there were a lot of events in Mount Vernon, and that's one of those communities that's impacted a lot by HIV. And the turnout is good because I put it on Facebook, and if I share it and other people share it, it gets out. Education, if there's a lot of youth that use the STD clinic, so when they come in the STD clinic and or Planned Parenthood, you know, because those are places you can go that are free and you don't have to worry about your parents knowing. They get education there and they talk to their friends. You know, STDs are kind of, they run around a lot, and through the youth population or any population, you know, people are told where to go. Well, you can get treated for this here. So it's actually good. There's a knowledge base, and there's a place for them to get this information.
Yeah.
Do you worry at all that health services or initiatives might be diminished under the next president's administration?
I don't.
I don't either. I think it's needed, and I think it's going to continue because it's something that is needed for our population. So I'm not worried at all.
What I will say is that healthcare is different today for people with HIV, and because of the other morbidities, other medical issues such as, you know, Johanna said, diabetes, hypertension, you know, regular stuff. People are living longer and dying with other, you know, just regular illnesses. With the event of the Affordable Care Act and or health care changes in the illness, people are managed by their primary care doctor. So you may have HIV or you may even have AIDS, and you may see an infectious disease doctor for HIV, but most of your care is in a primary care physician's office. So HIV has been mainstreamed because of how chronic it is. And with that, healthcare is what it is, and it's something that has to be addressed. So if you lose funding for HIV prevention, which very well may happen, that's one part of it. But can people get taken care of? Yeah, most definitely.
Yes, for sure.
We mentioned tests before. What is the test? Is it simple? Is it private? Is it something you can do at home? Or
They do have the home kit that you could buy at the local pharmacy. I kind of don't recommend it that much. I usually advise them or tell them to go to their local DOH or their local hospital or clinic to get tested, just because you could misread a false reactive or a false positive test. But it's a rapid test, and they also have the finger prick or the blood test. So they have different kinds of testing for
So
HIV.
you can actually get the results immediately. You're not waiting by the phone.
20 minutes. 20 minutes. It's an oral swab and a finger prick, whichever, and you get the results within 20 minutes. So while we're filling out the form, you're waiting for your results, which is amazing. You get to know if you're positive or not within 20 minutes. Yeah.
So your advice is get tested?
Definitely get tested.
Yes, especially if you're sexually active, at least twice a year. If you don't know the status of your partner, get tested before you have sex. Before you have any sexual contact with your partner, get tested. Yes, it's the best way to do it. You better safe than sorry.
And then the second part of it is get the PREP if you feel that you are at risk.
Yes, PrEP. Get PrEP as soon as you feel like you could be at risk for HIV. Contact your local clinic, contact DOH, contact Westchester Medical Center, contact your medical provider, and ask them for PrEP. It's not 100% effective, but it's about 90+% effective. And if you use condom, it's pretty good. It's effective.
Well, I thank you both for coming and spending some time with us. And if you've got an update on any of this, you're certainly welcome to come back.
Oh, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So our thanks to Linda Hakim and Johanna Acosta, and thank you, viewers.
And of course, stay with us because we'll be back in a moment with more community stories and the answer to the trivia question. And I know the answer this time.
Welcome back to the Lookalike. I'm here with Shari Allison from the Village of Mamaroneck Arts Council, who has some exciting news about the upcoming 6th Annual Arts and Craft Fair. So thank you, Shari, so much for coming here to our studio to tell us what we can expect this year about the 6th Annual Arts and Craft Fair.
Well, thank you for having me. First of all, the Arts and Crafts Fair will be on December 3rd from 10 to 4 at the Mamaroneck Public Library, lower level. We are going to have anything from glass creations to crochet, jewelry, pottery, anything you could think of. That's what will be on sale.
And what are the prices that we could expect? Are they accessible?
Absolutely. You know, we have things in every price range you can imagine, from a few dollars to a few $100s. You know, fine art and hand-painted scarves, things you could wear, things you could give as gifts. It's the holiday season, so it's the perfect time to shop for other people.
Absolutely. So are these artists coming from the Mamaroneck, from Westchester County?
The artists are coming from all over Westchester County, mostly very, very local, a lot from the Mamaroneck and the Sound Shore area. The only criteria I had was that whatever they sell has to be handmade.
Oh, that's actually very interesting.
Yes.
And, you know, every year you keep working from early September to put together this arts and craft fair.
Yeah.
So tell us, what is your personal motivation to keep bringing art to our community?
That's a good question. First of all, we decided to do the Arts and Crafts Fair with the Mamaroneck Public Library because I think it's important to have the library be our community center where we could all get together and share. And what better to share than art, especially local art. And we will have Piero Manrique, who painted the mural on Center Avenue. He's going to be selling some of his artwork in all different forms. And I think it's important for people who can't necessarily afford to go out and see art or buy art to have that opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming here and to give us this awesome news for our community. We just need to remember, everybody, that this 6th annual Arts Fair is this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Mamaroneck Library, the lower level. And we expect all of you there, and I will definitely going to be there. I'm going to start my early Christmas shopping, and I'll see you there.
Good.
And we hope to see you all.
You're watching The Local Live.
The only news show on Larchmont and Mamaroneck on LMC-TV.
Nice one, Abby.
Peanut Butter is a male tabby cat with a big personality. He is a little over a year old, very sweet and playful. If you are looking for a shadow to be by your side, Peanut Butter is the kitty for you. For more information on how to adopt Peanut Butter or browse other adorable pets, go to www.newyork-petrescue.org.
Remember, if you'd like to keep us on the air, support our program by checking out our website at www.lmc-tv.org and click the donate button in the upper right corner. We really appreciate any contribution.
We are always welcoming new interns and volunteers, so send your emails to the local live at lmc-tv.org and join us. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Coughlin.
And I'm Marala Kathwari. See you next week for another episode of The Local Live.
Thank you.